kill the brain and you kill the ghoul.
Welcome to the Cold Dead Heart Horror Show, the podcast where we explore the darkest corners of the human psyche and cover terrifying tales and recap and review our favorite horror news and movies. I'm your host, Gigi, and with me today is Jasper, Kenneth Spawn, and Lena.
Hey.
Hello.
Hola.
Getting started this week, we have some news presented by Jasper.
Hello. So I'm going to start off with one that we spoke about before, and the Cold Dead Heart server is hyping all over this one. So while we're continuing on waiting on Friday the 13th franchise to get off his ass, we at least have some fresh original slashers inspired by the 1980s classics, and we all know that we're excited for In a Violent Nature, which is being released tomorrow in theaters with an unrated version, and it's also coming to Shudder soon. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna camp out at the cinema tonight to watch this because I'm very excited. I mean,
it's currently my most anticipated movie.
Well,
I can't wait for this one.
My most anticipated since I saw The Devil. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, I think the same for me too.
To have the movie in the killer's POV, it reminds you of what's in the movie Maniac?
Oh yeah.
We haven't had a movie. Yeah, we haven't had a movie like that in a long time.
Right, it's due.
For sure.
It's overdue.
Especially like this style of slasher, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's from Shudder. And they are just making such amazing movies. So this is one to watch out for. We also have, now this surprised me, I'm a huge fan of Dexter, and apparently we're getting a prequel show called Dexter Origins. So Christian Slater.
I hope it's good.
Whoa, I don't know. But we get Christian Slater from Mr. Robot, Patrick Gibson, Shadows in the Bone, and Molly Brown Senior Year will star in the upcoming series. Patrick Gibson will be playing the young version of Michael C. Hall's Dexter Morgan. Dexter Original Sin is set in 1991 Miami and revolves around Dexter as he goes from the student to avenging serial killer. With guidance from his father, Harry, Dexter adopts a code designed to help him find and kill people without being discovered by law enforcement at the same time as he begins a forensics internship at the Miami Metro Police Station. Now, reading that now, it does sound pretty good.
Yeah, it does sound good. You know, it's funny, when we first heard that they were going to be, so we kind of thought, and maybe it was a misunderstanding, but I think they had alluded to just a new season, like a new season of Dexter. And we weren't sure what it was going to be. But as soon as we had heard it, we started rewatching the original series. And we're season 6, I think, right now. And that show was bonkers good. But I love this prequel young Dexter thing. I think that's going to be really cool, if done well.
But then we did get Dexter New Blood, which was him and his son, you know. I don't know if you watched that, Dexter New Blood.
No.
Yeah, it's out.
I was like, I hope it's good.
It just blew my mind.
It's
Was New Blood any good?
No, it was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, okay. I'm so glad you said it. I was like, no.
I think you guys are okay giving that a miss. I watched it, and I'm a huge fan of Dexter. Like, I have the book and everything, and I was so hyped going into this because I just wanted more Dexter content, but this just wasn't it.
Sure.
So I think the fact that they're going back, yet adapting the original series where he's like, he is into forensic. He's learning his code, which we got snippets from in the original show. I feel like this is going to be good. If it's done right, I think it could be excellent. So yeah,
it's got potential. Why don't we say that?
More
it
so
sounds
than
like
the
it's
New
got
Blood
some really
show.
good potential. Let's hope it's done well, right?
Yeah. We have a bit of gaming news. We have a throwback adventure title, An English Haunting, out now in Steam and itch.io. There's a trailer out. It's an old school point and click adventure games. from the creator of the award-winning Nightmare Frames and Urban Witch Story, and inspired by the works of horror authors like M.R. James, Algernon, that's quite a name, Blackwood and Arthur Machen. An English haunting takes place in 1907 London, where spiritualism has gripped the populace. Seances and theatrical shows where spirits make contact with their living families are all the rage. And it's a free game. Might as well just go grab it. We also have the dark narrative survival game Serum, which is out now in early access on Steam. There is a trailer available. Serum marks a strategic entry into the survival gaming landscape, offering players an immersive journey where time is a relentless adversary. The intricate blend of a mysterious storyline and the urgency of survival brings a unique flavour to the gaming experience. Along with implementing the planned co-op mode, Game Island plans on expanding upon the features and resources available. So, Serum centres around Adam, who is described as a survivor and patient of the EVAS Corporation. Adam finds himself stranded on the island of Matamis, where a catastrophic mutagen incident has occurred. Now isolated and seeking answers, Adam must navigate his way through the aftermath of the disaster. So I've looked into this, I've watched the trailer, it looks like a fun game. And like I say, the early access is out on Steam if you guys want to grab that. Now on to my favourite part. There's rumours of remakes of Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil Code Veronica in development. I don't know if you guys are a fan of the Resident Evil games. Yeah. There was news last week.
Definitely excited for that.
Well, last week's news, we weren't actually given titles on what they were remaking. So there was kind of rumours around it being 5 or the original, the very first one. But Code Veronica, I'm very excited for that. And I know Lena is very excited about this one, which is there's news on Silent Hill for the Silent Hill fans.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. So it appears that Konami will finally provide fans with an update on several Silent Hill projects. This Thursday, with a new edition of Silent Hill Transmission, it'll be broadcasted this Thursday, which is tomorrow. The streamed event will kick off at 7 p.m. ET with updates on current projects and a deeper look at the upcoming return to Silent Hill. We haven't really had an update.
So excited about Silent Hill.
I know, we haven't had an update in a couple of years since they announced that Silent Hill 2 was coming out, and then a couple of other games.
We had that short Silent Hill though. That was really
yeah.
Did anyone play that?
I did.
Yes,
I did.
Was it good? So everyone could be. Was it good?
Beautiful game.
Good.
Yeah.
Beautiful story.
That speaks volumes then to, like, if it's the same team and they kind of threw that out to gauge interest, then it sounds like it'll be this new one will be pretty good.
Yes, I mean it's kind of nice.
Do we know if it's the same team, like same development team?
I know, from what I do know, there is different teams, but the main Silent Hill 2 is being made by Bloober Team. Now, I don't know if you guys know Bloober, but Bloober was the team that made Layers of Fear. If any of you played that.
I love Layers of Fear.
Yes.
It's such a beautiful game.
Layers of Fear is the most beautiful horror game I've ever played, Lena.
Yeah, it's so
beautiful. I actually remember we played it on release, me and a couple of friends, right? And we were just sitting with a couple of beers, like, okay, let's try this game. We spent the whole, we were up till dawn playing this game. And as soon as we finished playing Layers of Fear, we actually messaged the team. I think it was on Twitter, like a DM or something, and they messaged us back thanking us for playing the game. So we're like, oh, you guys are kind of cool. So I'm very excited that they are working on Silent Hill 2 because they made such a beautiful game. Like everything about it, from the design, the characters, the story, to the I have the music on my playlist because it's that beautiful. So yeah, as soon as I heard they were going to be making Silent Hill 2, I was like, I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
Because you also really felt for the main character, like depending on how you played and what you found. But
so, for anybody that doesn't know the Layers of Fear game, just kind of going into it a little bit, it's about this painter who's trying to create his final piece, and he goes through like this path of like almost like losing his sanity, because you find out like he's lost loved ones because of certain like addictions and stuff like that, and although it's a scary game, it's like a really painful experience because you feel like you are walking in their shoes. So if they could emulate that in Silent Hill, perfect.
Especially because Silent Hill 2 is such a tragic story.
Exactly.
Like originally.
They couldn't have picked a more better team. But I will stop because I could speak about Bloober all night. That's all the news.
Cool, then.
Yeah, that's all the news I have for this week. What about you, Lena?
Yeah, I have small news as well. But let's start about something that we all might be a bit split about, and that's that Blumhouse announced that after 15 years, they are working on a new My Bloody Valentine movie. Don't know yet if it's gonna be a remake, a prequel, or a sequel. I mean, most likely a remake again. But we'll hopefully know soon enough.
I posted that on the Discord a couple of days ago and just sat back and waited for the bushfire.
And it was a big fire. It was between, oh, that's cool too. Why, God, why?
It was
why?
So
why
I'll
God?
say this. Do I think that My Bloody Valentine needs another remake? No. But here's what I will say. I think that, like, we talk about iconic slashers a lot, and I think The Miner is kind of a underappreciated one. So, like, if the plan is to, like, and with iconic slashers, you know, like, one and dones aren't really the wheelhouse for them. Iconic slashers need a franchise, and My Bloody Valentine has never really nailed that mark to get a franchise, and is a really cool slasher, right? Like, I love that character. So if they can make this remake in like this new wave of, you know, cool horror that we're getting, I think it could work. It comes down to just, you know, production, right? Like how well they make it. I have hopes for it. Am I excited for it? No. Am I hoping it's going to be good? Yes.
That's my problem with Blumhouse. Blumhouse is such a hit or miss.
Yeah.
Like, it can either go really good, like, I'm just going to use movies in the same franchise. Halloween 2018 was great. Halloween Ends was shit.
When I clicked on the article and went to Twitter, the first comment was, "Why can't Blumhouse leave anything alone?"
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Why? But no, you're right. It is like, I do like Blumhouse, but you're right in that it's a hit or a miss. You're either going to get garbage or you're going to get a really good like movie. You know.
And I hope you're going to get a good movie, because if it's going to be garbage, I just know it's going to be like in the wheelhouse of Truth or Dare, that they're going to make it a teen slasher, and like, even though The Miner is such a scary killer, in my opinion.
Well, like, I feel like that franchise is geared towards a more adult audience, right? Like, do a lot of 20-year-olds know My Bloody Valentine? Do they know who The Miner is? Like, I don't know, right? I feel like that's more of a mid-30s to mid-40s franchise, right? So we'll see.
Well, it is now. It is a movie that people our age would watch, but when it came out, I feel like it was more a teen hit back then.
Like the 80s one? The original?
Yeah. Yeah, like
Oh, for sure, but everything was, right?
yeah.
Friday the 13th,
So-
Nightmare on Elm Street, those were all made for teenagers, but teenagers in the 80s, which is funny because
right.
I find that the biggest fans of all those franchises were kids that were way too young to see them, right? The kids that grew up being told, no, this is too scary for you. Those are the people that became like the hardcore addicts and pulled the franchises up going forward, right?
Yeah, okay, you're right about that.
Like,
So
it was made for teens in the 80s and made for teens now, completely different ballparks.
but
That's a wide spread.
I feel like it is going to be made into a popcorn movie, much the same as I Know What You Did Last Summer. They obviously announced that they're doing a remake, which, by the way, I think I read somewhere that Jennifer Love Hewitt is returning.
I just read that today. Yeah, she's in.
Not as a main character. We will not have the iconic turn.
It could be very much like Scream, where they bring Sydney back. You know, she's not the main character, but she's there. So, you know, yeah.
But one last thing I'm just going to say about My Bloody Valentine. I do have to be honest. My first experience was with the 3D remake, and it was mainly because I was huge in my Jensen Ackles phase, and Jensen Ackles was like one of the main characters in the movie. But afterwards I watched the original, of course, and I didn't regret it at all. So
yeah. And it's funny too because the remake's not like it's not good.
Not bad.
It's not horrible, right? But then you watch the original and you're like, why did they do? Why did they bother remaking this?
Yeah,
because the original is just so much better.
Kind of the same with the Town That Dreaded Sundown. Like the original is so good. The remake is.
Yes.
I don't know. Just bloody.
Remake, actually. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as great as the original, but I quite liked the remake of that movie.
Yeah, me too, but the original was better again.
It's fine. For the era it came out in, it was above average, I would say.
Definitely. Okay, let's not get stuck on that. I got two more. I mean,
but one more thing about the... No, I'm just joking.
The next thing we won't talk about as much, because I don't think... Has anyone heard of the webcomic Death of a Pop Star?
I don't believe I have.
Okay, then let me tell you about it. Because the webcomic Death of a Pop Star will get a movie adaptation. It's a supernatural webcomic. And according to Variety, Diablo Cody will produce the movie. Cody has worked on the movies Lisa Frankenstein. It's like this movie, but also Jennifer's Body, which is a very good movie, I'd say. Also, the writer of the movie Cam, like the Netflix movie, Isa Mazet, will be working on the script. Okay. So let's get surprised about it. But what's the web cartoon about? It's about Sophie, a famous pop star at the top of her game. But after she falls down the stairs, she wakes up in hell. In a weird but funny way, the Grim Reaper is like the biggest fan of hers and offers the pop star a second chance at life. That's basically what the webcomic is about.
Okay.
So I think we're in a
that is
wild
right
ride
up
with
my
that.
alley.
I might have to look into the webcomic because it seems so
totally
funny.
For Gigi.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge fan of Has-Been Hotel and that kind of stuff.
Sounds great. Yeah. Like any kind of way to make the Grim Reaper seem like a cool, funny guy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a way for us to like deal with our own mortality? Just make the afterlife kind of silly.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
I think. But it's I like
keep
it.
getting flashes of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was actually a pretty cool comic.
Called?
It's still running. It's like in the teens now, almost 20s. It's called Grimm by Stephanie Phillips, who's a fantastic writer. and it's about the Grim Reaper, but there's basically a whole organization of them, and they all have a scythe, and they all kind of cover different areas, and they all have their own weird personalities and stuff, and about their relationships and the job that they have to do. And you see them passing each other on the river Styx in the boat with boats full of souls and stuff. It's actually really well done.
What was that one show that was followed Reapers? It only ran for about 3 seasons, but it was super
I know what you're talking about.
What is that called?
I know what you're talking about. It's like that girl who died, and then she was brought back as a Reaper, but then every time she went to her family, she had a different appearance.
Yeah, you have a different appearance based on what you're around, and you
Sounds familiar.
You can't interact with your family or anybody that knew you in your former life, and if you do, there's consequences. Like she would lose her memory.
Dead like me.
Dead like me.
Dead like me.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Yeah.
That show was amazing. I so wish that they made it more, because wasn't the main character, she died by a toilet seat that fell out of an airplane?
Yeah, it was something super silly.
That's great. I need to watch that show.
It's a fantastic show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just remember that one of my favorite characters in Supernatural was Death itself.
Yes,
so, because he's so funny, he's so sarcastic. He's like, well, if you think you can do it better, then you do it. I don't care. So I think it's very human to humanize death itself, so it's not as scary. But I'll be looking forward to it. I will have an eye on it because I love silly horror comedies a lot.
Yeah, definitely keep us updated on that. Sounds really good.
Yeah, I will. So the last movie news I have is that we all know and love Talk to Me, and the brothers that were working on it. Next to the sequel of Talk to Me they're working on, they're also working on a movie called Bring Her Back for A24. Production will start this summer. We know nothing about the story for now, but the cast seems interesting. Sally Hawkins is in it, who played the lead in The Shape of Water.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah, that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. And we got 3 kids actors in it. So it might be a movie about kids. We'll see. I always think
another
kid actors are very important. Yeah.
Those guys have earned the shot. Whatever they make, in the horror genre, I'm gonna check out. So.
Yeah, one of the kids' cast is actually Jonah Wren Phillips, who played in Sweet Tooth. I don't know if anyone has seen that, but it's supposed to be an interesting series.
Yeah, that's the Jeff Lemire show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking for that one as well, because we don't know much, but like I said, and like Ken said, these brothers can't do anything at the moment, and I would watch it because I know they did great with Talk to Me.
For sure.
I was speaking to a friend today, and we were talking about movies, and they're like, "Oh, I still need to watch Talk to Me." I'm like, "Please watch it. It's so good."
Yeah.
And I think we said last week on the podcast, I love horrors that are supernatural, but bring the supernatural beings into their world using a creative way, like The Hand. So that's really what pulled me into that movie and made it excellent. It's just how unique it was, the concept.
Okay, and then for movies, I just have one thing to say about games. About a game I think we all are really looking forward to play, and we've talked about a lot on the show already. It's the Killer Klowns from Outer Space game.
Yeah.
The Advanced Access has finally started on May 28th. The official launch will be on June 4th for PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series. but everyone who still wants to pre-order the game still has a shot to pre-order it, get all the advances out of it, and play it before everyone else. So far, I have only seen great reviews about it, and the streamers that played it had a blast.
Yeah.
And watching
It
it being played was so fun. It looked so fun. I just wanted to be there as well.
I do have like this like worry that it's gonna kind of get old fast, but I find that with a lot of games. So
kind of like
I'm definitely looking forward to jumping into it. So it looks so fun.
Have a big opinion about this, right? We all know, like, I'm a huge fan of Dead by Daylight, so's Lena.
Mm-hmm.
The reason Dead by Daylight works so much is because they've created their own unique concept, which is they have this entity that can bring people and monsters into their realm to, be hunted or hunt. And so that gives them the opportunity to bring in characters like Scream. Okay, so as much as I'm excited about this game, we had like the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So when that came out, there was a lot of hype. And okay, I'm well versed. I used to stream Dead by Daylight. I kept up to date, and there were so many comments saying, "Oh, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to kill Dead by Daylight because this concept's so amazing." But then it fell off so quickly. Because if you look at Dead by Daylight, right, they have their own unique concept where they have this entity that brings in, survivors and killers to be hunted and to hunt. So that gives them the freedom to then say, okay, well, we're going to have Alien, we're going to have Chucky, we're going to have Nick Cage in our game. Whereas games like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Ash versus Evil Dead, then you have Friday the 13th.
They're tied to their franchise, right?
They're tied to, Friday the 13th. They officially closed their servers last year. Yeah.
I heard something about fans adding stuff, or like because there is like still a core fan community behind the. But it is sad that Dead by Daylight seems to be the only one that can really survive the test of time by the.
Oh, absolutely. So, although I'm hyped for Killer Klowns, I feel like it's going to be very popular for a couple of months and then drop off. I wish them all the best success, but games like that, they really don't bode well.
So, for me, I really just hope that they have a good in-game, like, something fun in-game, like, not online. Like, I know Evil Dead, I played the missions, the story mode missions way more than I did anything online. If they have stuff like that, that's you could pick up once or twice a year after, the full experience of it gets tired, I'll consider it worth it. If you can jump in just randomly, pick a player and run through the cove and fight some clowns, or vice versa, I'll feel like that's worth the money.
I do think the most interesting element of Killer Klowns is that you can fight back. You can fight back. I know they do have that in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I watched a few streamers like playing it, and they're like, "Oh my god, you can fight back!" And it seems to be in quite fun, hilarious ways. So yeah, I think you can get a couple of months of fun out of it at least.
But finally, you can fight back. Like, you just feel helpless in all the other cases. Like in Dead by Daylight, you just have like a flashbang, like, here, eat this. Here, pebble.
It's like you can craft flashbangs in Dead by Daylight, but you can't bring your gun with you. What's the point?
Right.
But then that's all I'd have to talk about. I mean, I fully agree with Jasper's view on Killer Klowns. I'm just always very scared that games like this will always fall off, especially games that don't seem to stand the test of time in terms of updates, new characters, new maps, new something. I mean, it's what ultimately also killed kind of Phasmophobia or Among Us. It's just very interesting games these franchises. That was all I had. So let's just skip over to Ken. What do you have for us?
Not a lot this week. Daniel Reitman announced that there was a new Mummy prequel in development over at Universal. And that's pretty much all he said. So we're getting a prequel to a Mummy movie. We don't know which Mummy movie it's going to be because they've all been through Universal. And really no other information. So, yeah, I'm kind of, I'm an old school Universal Monsters guy. So I'm hoping it's going to be some kind of noir prequel to the original. Chances are it'll be a prequel to their failed 2017 attempt that tried to kick off the Dark Universe. So, yeah, it was a big bummer that Universal Dark Universe never happened. I feel like they went at it the wrong way, dumping a lot of money into like some blockbuster please everyone type movie instead of really going after the core horror fans and classic monster fans. And it is what it is, classic Hollywood, right? So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. They seem to be changing gears now into the more low budget, smaller, darker movies. Like the Wolfman in development right now is looking really promising. The new Invisible Man is looking pretty promising. So we'll see, right? And Nosferatu coming up, which I have high hopes for. Yeah. Have you guys seen Immaculate? Did anyone see it in theaters?
No.
Yes.
Okay. So, lucky you. I missed it in theaters and I was waiting for streaming. But I got some bad news for everyone that was on the edge of their seat waiting for it to pop up on streaming. It's still coming to streaming, but apparently it does not look as intended. So, Michael Mohan, the director, wrote this on X. He said, "This was absolutely not done intentional, but we have no control over the compression specs for each streaming platform. It's a real problem that truly bums me out. And after comparing them all, it looks like iTunes might be the closest to what we wanted. It's a little bit brighter than the rest. So it seems that when the film went to streaming, the mood that they went for, the lighting, under the compression of a streaming service comes out super, super dark. And it's like I'm reading a bunch of comments here. They're saying it's almost comical because you can't tell what's happening on screen. So that's pretty sad. But I would recommend, and what I'm going to try, because I was really looking forward to this, is I'm just going to turn up all the light specs on my TV and try and match it before getting into it. See if we could get something a little bit brighter. Jasper, you said that you did see it, eh?
Yes. And it was spectacular. Amazing movie. Absolutely phenomenal. I loved this movie so much.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
It was the actress. What's her name again?
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sweeney,
yeah, I actually posted facts about this on the Cold Dead Heart Twitter, where
yes, you did.
She had bought the script. She produced it. She found the funding.
Right.
And then she acted in it, like she put her...
Well, she auditioned for it, right? She auditioned for it before, when it was first in production, and then it didn't happen.
So she originally auditioned, didn't get it. The movie ended up losing its funding and it got pulled. But I think she loved the script that much as, she went back and says, I want this. I want to make this movie.
Right.
And she's a huge horror fan as well. So... when a horror fan makes a horror movie, it's going to be gold. And I can't recommend Immaculate enough. It's definitely one of the better movies I've seen this year.
I didn't know Sydney Sweeney was a horror fan until, that movie.
Yeah.
But it's mainly because she always gets typecasted nowadays.
Oh, that's true.
It's like this pretty girl, this funny pretty girl. Actually,
Well,
Cuckoo's so
I
good in
think
the
she
horror industry.
definitely has broken out of that typecast with this role. That's for sure. Because
Yeah.
she was not pretty. She was not pretty in this movie with what she went through. My goodness, that's all I'll say about that.
As it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to bring up a little bit of Bill Skarsgård news. First, really quickly, I guess Bill has seen the finished product of the new Crow reboot and said in an interview he wasn't a fan. And specifically, he wasn't a fan of the ending and hoped for something a little more definitive. So people are taking that to mean that Rupert Sanders has decided to leave the open ending, hoping for a possible sequel. Yeah, so there's that. And more interesting news. In the same interview, he talked a little bit about his character Count Orlok in the reimagining of Nosferatu, which I'm actually really looking forward to. So I've got a bit of a block on Bill until December, and then I'm gonna open up the floodgates for Nosferatu. He said when talking to a reporter about the process for Nosferatu, he said, "It took its toll. It was like conjuring pure evil. It took a while for me to shake off the demon that had been conjured inside of me. I don't think people are going to recognize me in this." And then the reporter asked him, when asked if the vampire is sexy, he said, "He's gross, but he's very sexualized." So it sounds like the film is playing with a more of a sexual fetish about the power of the monster and the appeal that has. So he says, hopefully you'll get a little bit attracted by it, but also a bit disgusted at your own attraction. So that sounds interesting. And
Wow.
yeah, perfect for like a gothic, horror vampire story too, right? I'm really pumped for this. The original unauthorized adaptation of the Bram Stoker's novel Nosferatu, the silent film, German film. So claps to you. From 1922. It's like, I don't do a lot of silent films. I love my black and white movies, but Nosferatu has such an amazing score.
Great.
And it just this beautiful, like, dark tone to it. Yeah, I really love it. And I'm super looking forward to this new one. The director, Robert Eager, I think is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see what he does with this one. What do you guys think? You guys excited for this one?
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Is there any fans of the original? I know I play it on the Discord every time, like I'm like bored, but generally throw it on. But,
I mean, the original Nosferatu.
Yeah. It's on
I
YouTube. Like, people can stream it anywhere.
I kind of have to love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's classic
right?
and iconic. It's one of those, like, I remember watching it, I don't know, probably 20, 30 years ago. And I thought it was just really cool. But I was really lucky because there was a movie theater at the time that would do midnight screenings of old horror movies on the weekend.
That would be so good.
And so I got to see it at a midnight screening at an actual movie theater.
That's so cool.
And it was really, really cool.
That sounds wicked. There was a guy in the Discord the last time I played it. I want to say it was PJ, who does a lot of really cool horror cosplay. There was a place in his downtown area that had a full orchestra and did a 3-night show of projected Nosferatu on the screen, but that score the orchestra did all live, which just sounds amazing, right? Like, what an experience that would be. Anywho, moving on, we've looks like we've got a new Exorcist movie coming from Blumhouse. written and directed by none other than Mike Flanagan.
I'm so here for that.
Right? Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Flanagan's. I think a lot of his stuff is gold, and he is so excited to be doing this. In fact, he had actually said in an interview that The Exorcist was the movie, the original Exorcist was the movie that made him want to get into film.
Really?
Right? Like that was the movie that was the movie that inspired him to actually make film a career. So it does sound really cool. And also, this is not going to be part of, so it's in the Exorcist universe, the original Exorcist universe, but it is not going to be a sequel to The Believer. He's going to be doing his own thing and really kind of making his own mark. So I'll read you what he says here in the interview. The Exorcist is one of the reasons I became a filmmaker. It is an honor to have the chance to try something fresh, bold, and terrifying within its universe. Jason Blum says Mike's voice and vision are indispensable for horror fans, and we're excited to welcome him back to Blumhouse. I immediately responded to Mike's new take on the world of The Exorcist and can't wait for audiences to experience it. So I'm really excited for that. I had nothing against any of the Exorcist movies that have been out recently. I even like the Pope's Exorcist. I will say that they're a little bit derivative, and this sounds like it's going to be something new. And I think that's what everyone's ready for. We've seen the same stories kind of, with their own take, but it's generally the same or similar beginning and end. I think they're intentionally going to give this one a pretty cool twist. And with Flanagan at the helm, I'm sure it's going to be pretty entertaining.
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
I was wondering if it was going to be a sequel to The Believer, because I loved The Believer, but then when I heard there was a new Exorcist coming out, I was like, I hope it isn't a sequel, so I'm glad to hear that it's its own thing.
Yeah, I like The Believer as well. I agree with everyone that, the major complaint is, like, what was really, added. What was the added value to this movie? I just thought it was a well-done movie. It was a well-done Exorcist movie. It didn't change the world, but, it was done well. And that's all I can really hope for, right? Even the Pope's Exorcist, same thing, right? Did it, change the world? No, it didn't really do anything new. But it was done really well. The acting was good. The cinematography was good. The story was good. And for the Pope's Exorcist, it actually set up that character, that Russell Crowe character, which I really liked. So, anyways, that's all I got for movies and books. As we're recording this on Wednesday, which any comic heads out there know, Wednesday is New Comic Day. I thought I'd give a shout out to just a couple cool horror comics that are coming out today. You guys know I'm a big Spawn fanatic, and in the Spawn universe, there's 4 main Spawn titles, one of them being King Spawn. King Spawn is kind of the darkest, more mature out of the lot in the realm of, like, the Hell Spawns. So issue 33 comes out today, 33 or 34. I don't have it in front of me. But the really cool thing about this one is Jason Sean Alexander, who, if you know the name, you know what he does. He is one of the most prolific painted horror artists out there. His stuff is wild. It's abstract. He was, like, still to this day one of my favorite horror artists in comics, and he had an epic run that every Spawn fan knows. Way back in the day, but he's shooting back for an issue and doing the covers and interior for the new King Spawn issue, which sounds really, really cool. Also, we've got from Ram V and Dan Waters, issue 2 of Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives, which is a direct sequel to the original Universal Monsters Creature from the Black Lagoon film. And true to my word, I will mention Creature from the Black Lagoon in every podcast if I can. And lastly, from Dan Waters, we have the Six Fingers issue number 4, which I've mentioned this before. Ranvi and Dan Waters writing 2 books that coincide, one about a serial killer, one about the detective trying to catch the serial killer. So Ranvi's writing the one about the detective called The One Hand. Issue 4 of that is already out. I've been waiting for issue 4 of the Six Fingers to come out to kind of read them back to back. So I'm very excited for that because that series is getting really cool, really crazy. There's some definite like Matrix type vibes and some Blade Runner vibes, but all set in this dark noir future about this crazy serial killer, which is fantastic. I'm loving it. But that wraps me up. What about you, Gigi?
Well, I've got a couple cool things to talk about that are coming up. So next month, we have Russell Crowe, since you were just talking about him, in another Exorcist-style movie. It's called The Exorcism. And I'm really excited about this one. I don't know if y'all have gotten a chance to see the preview for it. But
totally. When it was first announced, I had mentioned it, but we didn't really know a lot about it. Mm-hmm. But the plot sounds so good.
It does. So yeah, it's a troubled actor on a horror movie set starts acting weird and going back into like past troubles, and it turns out that there is something more sinister at play. So
I don't want to repeat myself, but because I don't know if I mentioned it when it first came up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, do you have a Ken theory?
Can I put on my tinfoil hat and give you a little theory?
Yeah. Yes.
So Ken theory time. Okay. So, and I do apologize if I've said this before, but so here's my little Ken theory on this. I think that where they're filming, the set that wherever they're filming, the location where they're filming the movie inside the movie, I think it's haunted. And because the character that we're watching, Russell Crowe, because his character already has some mental health issues and some addiction issues, I think it makes his guard a little bit weaker, and he ends up becoming possessed by this evil spirit where they're filming. I know very, very little about this, but that's kind of the take that I got from reading the synopsis and everything.
I like this Ken theory.
That sounds plausible.
It sounds like a typical easy for a demon to possess thing.
Yes.
You have mental health problems. You're an easy target.
Right? But that's like, if any Conjuring fans will know, like that's
exactly
that's people who have like emotional distress. You're easier to attack, right?
Isolate. So the next movie I have is called Blackwater Lane, which is more of a thriller, but she passes by a motorist, and then it turns out that the motorist dies or is murdered, and then she thinks that she's going to be like the next victim. And we don't have a whole lot of details from the trailer, but there's some spooky stuff that starts to happen. It sounds cool. I'm a little bit dubious. And I know this is going to sound so judgy of me because there are some killer movies that are PG-13, but it's PG-13. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's always like, whenever I'm like getting excited about a trailer or synopsis and I see PG-13, I'm always like,
Yeah. I'm like, because there have been some outstanding PG-13 horror movies.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit of a tell.
Like PG-13 now, like isn't that? Yeah. Like I know. Like again, 80s to now, right? Like PG-13 in the 80s.
Well, yeah, and like right? Even Hitchcock stuff. I saw one Hitchcock movie that was rated like PG even.
Right.
And so it's kind of like where things have come. So I think now, like say anything post 2010 If I see PG-13, I'm just like,
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So the
And
last
here's
one,
the thing: it might still be good. I
It
just feel
might.
like if it's horror or thriller or like anything with like a killer or supernatural, and they do it like, because it's a thing that happens in Hollywood, is that if you have a script and you have, like a production plan, the investors, whoever's got money involved, they know that PG-13 will make more money than a rated R, right? Like, it just will, because younger people will be able to go see it.
right.
And those are the people that go to the theater more frequently, right? But it also means that you're sacrificing, something in the story, if there's something to be sacrificed, right?
Well, yeah, I think you
I don't
tapped
know.
into it. Like, it's meddling. It's like they'll meddle with
exactly.
it because they're like,
they try.
okay.
Well, get rid of the scene, get rid of that, make that less bloody. Put her clothes back on, and boom, we could get a PG-13 rating and make more money, right? No.
So the
But
last
there
movie,
are a lot of movies.
Oh, there are. Well, see, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of really good
don't
PG-13 ones. So I hate to be so judgy about it, but it gives me it like lowers my expectations. When I'm gonna see
and that I would concur 100% with that. It's as soon as I see it, it just lowers my expectations. And like, if it's like, I don't know the last time I went to the theater to see a PG-13 movie. Like, if I'm gonna get excited enough to actually leave the house and like plan a night around it, like, it's better be bloody as hell, right? So, yeah.
We all know.
But then that begs the question, with these horrors that come out, are we just too desensitized?
No.
That's when
No.
come on.
I'm made of marshmallow. Okay? Like, no. Like, stuff gets to me. I remember watching Terrified not Terrifier, which is very good, but Terrified, the Rugna movie. And like literally pulling my feet up because I didn't want them on the floor anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I am still so sensitive to horror movies, but I love them.
I love them as well. Like, I had a discussion with someone in the server about shock movies, and like, I'm not into shock movies, but I am into gore. But I still have scenes in Hostel and Saw where I just can't look at it. And I have seen that scene 1,000 times, and people will know which scenes I'm thinking about. I don't even have to name them.
I know, but I think, like, gore, but when you think about the movies that came out, like, 80s or 90s, and you watch them now and you think, oh, that's just a popcorn movie, cheese fest. But back then, they were scary.
Well, we talk about that with Freddy Krueger, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you watch a Nightmare on Elm Street movie as a kid, like I was maybe 6-ish or 7, right? First time I saw a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And it's horrifying, right? And you think about it at nighttime, and you think about it the next day, and you think about it the next night, and it's terrifying. And then you watch them as an adult. Like, I know Nightmare on Elm Street was one of the first movies I always watch with like my nieces or nephews when they hit a certain age, right? And I'm like, and they're getting scared, right? Because they're always pretty young. The first time we watched that movie. And I'm like kind of laughing, right? Like, it's more of like a fun action movie to me now. But I put myself in my younger self's mind, and it was horrifying. Like, there was nothing scarier, right?
So then you think about those PG-13 movies that are coming out, and they are scary for people. Like the younger generation, but not us. That kind of desensitization. Rather than the store. Yeah, kind of like that. So maybe not scary for us, but it could be scary for the younger generation. God, I sound fucking old. Please stop me.
Well, no, but I think you're onto something too, because
full disclosure, Nightmare on Elm Street was not PG-13.
What is nice is, I'm going to sound like incredibly old, but I like seeing the kids go to movies together and talk about horror. It is fun. Like, it's good. It's wholesome.
It's gateway horror.
It's gateway horror.
It's the horror that brings them into our
gateway
world.
Horror, I can get.
Yeah. So Yeah, if it's gateway horror, it's fine.
Again,
If it's
like,
popcorn
now is that
horror,
something for you though? That's not for you. Gateway horror is like that's not made for you and me,
Mhm.
right? And I think
Yeah.
that was my point. When I see PG-13,
Okay, yeah.
I think not made for me, and I
Mhm.
kind of right.
Okay.
And the only time it kind of catches me is if the plot or something seems really good before I realized it was PG-13. And even then, it's a crapshoot whether I'll see it or not. It's usually like one of you guys saying, oh, you got to see it because, yeah, it's PG-13, but it's really good, and then I'll give it a shot. Right?
So I do have one
Absolutely.
more movie to talk about and a couple books.
Okay.
So The Devil's Bath is set in Austria in the 18th century. And forests, so this is the little synopsis. Forests surround villages. Killing a baby gets a woman sentenced to death. Agnes readies for married life with her beloved, but her mind and heart grow heavy. And so this vibe is they're doing these rituals, but they disturb an ancient evil force that starts to afflict people's minds. It sounds like it's going to be
This
super
sounds
trippy.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm into it. And then a couple books, Cuckoo, which is written by Gretchen Felker-Martin. Have y'all ever heard about those like kid camps? I'm putting that in quotations that they take troubled teens to.
Oh yeah.
They're like horrific.
Yeah.
In the realist sense of the word. So that's what this is about. And it's set up in the 90s where it's not just one of those tough love camps, but it's also one of like the pray the gay away camps.
Oh, conversion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, in part of the synopsis, I won't read the whole thing. It says, tormented and worked to the point of collapse by hardline religious zealots intent on straightening them out, they slowly become aware that something in the mountains north of the camp is speaking to them in their dreams, and that the children who return home to their families have ... changed.
Okay.
So it's like not the
That sounds
horror
good.
of their situation, but also like something else, and
Right.
I feel like it
Horror
could be
on
really
horror.
good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, and then the other one is more lighthearted. It's called Relentless Melt by Jeremy Bushnell. It's listed as kind of like a cosmic horror, but it sounds like it's a horror comedy. One of the reviews about it said it's part Stranger Things and part Enola Holmes.
Okay.
Kind of a weird description, no?
It is. So I don't know. I think it could be kind of cool, and I'm interested how the cosmic horror worms its way in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's paperback and
It was an
Kindle.
interesting way to put it too.
Yeah.
Wording its way in.
Yeah, but that's all that I have for horror news. I'm excited about the upcoming projects. So let's
For sure.
jump
Another
in-
good week.
Yeah, jump into our recap and review. Jasper, you've seen some pretty good things this past week, haven't you?
Oh, good lord. Well, not only have I seen pretty good things, I've made Lena watch everything I've watched this week as well.
Oh yeah.
So, I want to start off with Cold Dead Heart's Tubi movie of the week. Like, can we hire somebody to turn that into a song, please? Because that would be great.
Let's
Okay.
get these horns to do.
I'm going to say something that might just be really, really drastic. This was a good movie. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
This was the first Tubi movie I enjoyed. So how it started is I'm casually sitting, listening to music. Oh, Twitter notification, it's from Gigi. And somebody tweeted about the movie and Gigi's like, have you watched this yet? And I'm like, no, I'm on it though. And the person who tweeted it said, how have I just noticed Tubi dropping one of the best movies of the year? Or it was something like that.
Whoa.
Dude, okay. Now, me and Lena discussed this beforehand. It's one of these movies where you don't want to give away the plot because then you're giving away the entire movie and the experience. So, the synopsis is the survival instincts of a road-tripping family are put to the test when they have no other choice but to stay the night at a remote homestead. So this family, they're camping, they bump into some weird characters, they come up these two hillbilly types, which one of them, I can't remember the name, Lena.
Michael, and what
was his name?
what was the name of the movie? I don't think you mentioned it yet.
Oh, it's Lowlifes, yeah.
Yeah,
Lowlifes.
before people are like, huh? What
Oh,
movie?
Richard Harmon.
Richard
Okay.
Harmon. Oh, not Michael at all.
Yeah.
Damn.
Who is actually the main lead in Grave Encounters 2 is in this.
Yeah.
So, this family's out camping. You've got Richard, who plays this guy called Vernon, and his doofy brother. They're both hillbillies. Come up and say, like, what are you guys doing here? Oh, we're just camping. And there's like this weird vibe you get from them, and they're like, we're looking for our friend, Milliner. We found like his car down the road. We can't find him. You're like, okay, you guys are being really sus. And from there, it just wheelbarrows. And this movie has so many twists and turns. Like most of the time, I'm just like, oh damn, And I immediately went on Cold Dead Heart. I was like, please, somebody watch this. And Lena did, thankfully. Watch it as well.
Did today, and it was a roller coaster.
It is for a Tubi movie. So I've watched a fair few now, against my will, but I've done it for the Cold Dead Hard server. I'll give them this with their movies. They always have a nice twist where you're like, okay, this is kind of paid off a little bit. Me watching this, but they. And as well as that, their gore's really good. I think I don't know what team it is, but they've hired a really good SFX team because the kills are just absolutely fantastic. The only issue with the Tubi movies is that the actors just aren't that great. It's just...
Budget.
The actors just, yeah. But I feel like...
actor Richard. Like, I think the hillbillies were quite good.
Well... Compared to the other movies, the only downfall with acting was the guy that played the dad. He wasn't that great. And I felt like at the start of the movie, it was almost like it was their first day shooting and they never met each other. So they're just really awkward. And like they warmed up with the acting.
Oh, you mean the main dad?
Main dad. I
feel
like
two dads in the movie, that's why.
Yeah. The camper van dad. He wasn't that great an actor, so... But, Tubi movie, if you want a roller coaster and a fun Saturday watch Lowlifes. The second one I made Lena watch was Tarot.
Oh, no.
Which has been out in cinema for a while, but there has been a HD release. Oh my god. Popcorn movie, Ken. Popcorn movie. This, I did not care for any of the characters. Okay? And so the premise is, when a group of friends recklessly violates the sacred rule of tarot readings, they unknowingly unleash an unspeakable evil trapped within the cursed cards. One by one, they come face to face with fate and end up in a race against death. So you have the main character who studies astrology, and she's like really into it, and although she doesn't want to use the tarot cards, she's like, okay, I'll give you all readings. And with each character, they face their last card. So say for example, I'll give you an example with one of them. One of them was the magician.
Oh god.
Yeah, the magician. So this creepy monster magician man appeared, and she was being chased down by him, and suddenly she's chained up and trying to get away, and she jumps into this box, right? And she like sees his shadow and it disappears, and she's like, sigh of relief. But suddenly the box gets pushed, right? And she gets pushed onto this stage, and there's all these like dead living people surrounding her, almost like a magician's show. And second by second, he starts sawing into the box. Now, what I found really cool about the movie, the only cool parts, was this particular death, and I'm not spoiling much, it's a popcorn movie, you know what's going to happen, but she's in this box, he's sawing it, and he stops. And suddenly, it was almost like a saw trap. This trunk starts shrinking, and it forces her body to flatten.
Oh.
So he could perform the final act of sawing her in half. And I just thought that was really cool, the way that was done. Yeah, it was... Okay, so the deaths were all off screen.
Yeah, they were. Most of them, please. I mean, the first one wasn't really.
Yeah, the first one wasn't, but yeah, off screen, and you're kind of like rolling your eyes. But there's this one point, okay, so...
Oh my god.
I hope it's the same point, Lena. They've just faced against one of the cards, right? One of the monsters for the cards, and there's like a few of them left. And this one guy's like, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to leave. And the girl who read the cards is like, but you're going against what you're reading, like you're being bullheaded, and it told you not to be bullheaded, don't run away. And he's like, nah, fuck you guys, and he leaves. And it's like, but you've just witnessed your friend die because she didn't listen to the astrology girl and did exactly what the cards said would happen, and you're doing the same thing. Like, come on, man, you're being stupid here. So
that's the worst part about the movie. Like, none of the characters went for what was said in their tarot reading, like what they shouldn't do. Like, what I was like sighing about was this girl basically gets read, don't run away. I know you have a tendency to run away, but don't run away. Just face your fears and stop. What does she do? She runs out of the car and runs away.
Runs away. It's like, oh my god. So, the characters, I hate them. They were all just stupid, right? But the designs for the actual monsters were really cool.
They're beautiful. Like, you should watch this movie only for the monsters.
That can sell it for me, right? Like, I don't have to like the people. I don't like most people in real life. Why would I like them on TV, right? But the monsters, if the monsters are done good, anything with monsters, they're done good and creative and gnarly and gross. That could sell me over on a movie. For sure.
I think that was the best part, and I'd say watch it for that. The thing that popped into my head when I saw them is it was like they're very drawable. Like, I could see a lot of fan art being done for them. You know, they were that kind of pretty. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the only thing that you could salvage from the movie. The last one I watched, which was what Ken talked about last week, The First Omen.
So good.
My god, this movie was amazing. I don't know if it was amazing, or if it was amazing because I've been watching so much trash lately, and I finally watched a good movie.
I watched it in the middle of watching like some really good movies, and I still think about it from time to time. Just like I wouldn't say it was overly scary, but it did have like some like really cool concepts, and it was done beautifully. The cinematography, the acting in that movie is like so top notch. It's just beautiful. It's really well done. The story is super good. I have nothing but like positive, good things to say about this.
I'm on the same page here, Ken. I was speaking to a few people on the server about it, and they said, should I watch it? Because, you know, it's another Roman movie. And I says, listen, the creators, the director, writer, producer, the on-set people, everybody took the heart and soul from the original Roman movie and poured it into this. Because this is the first time where I've watched a prequel and I've desperately wanted to watch the original straight after it. You know, because I wanted to see Damien's journey more. You know, it's just... I don't want to spoil it too much, Ken. But
I know. We'll give it a bit more time, but I would love to deep dive this because I totally want to rewatch it.
I think
I just watched it and I liked it so much, and I've got this huge list of things to watch, and I want to watch this one again because it was that damn good.
I think Gigi and Lena should have it as homework next week. For next week, and we should do a deep dive on this.
All right,
because
right on.
So first the original Omen and then the new one.
No.
Or the other way around. No, because it's a prequel.
Yeah. So,
and honestly, it's one of the best prequels. Like, prequels are always hit or miss for me, and I love the concept of them, but they miss more times than they hit. This one was one of the best prequels ever made, and I'm just gonna say it.
No, dude, 100% agree. I 100% agree with you. This prequel was fantastic.
I would argue it's like a contender to be actually better than the original. And the original Omen is fucking classic, right? But this is so good. Like, it has its own mark. It doesn't even have to be a prequel to the Omen, just as its own movie. Yeah. It's fucking phenomenal. It's fantastic. But the fact that it is actually a prequel to a really good 80s horror movie, I love. I think it's fantastic.
The main actress in it, there was this moment where, it was weird because she was very kind of slow and gracious in her movements and her speech. The way she spoke was just very polite. She has a very soft voice throughout the movie. But then there's, this won't spoil anything, but when she meets up with the person in the room and there's that sudden change in her. And the actress is, I can't praise her enough because she gave me this chill down my spine because she'd just done this insane change with her voice and body. And I'm like, is this the same person?
Well, and it's funny too, because I know the scene that you're talking about, and it's almost like if you first getting to meet someone, and you're trying to kind of piece together who they are and what kind of person they are in your head, and you think you got it, and then they do something or say something, and you don't know them very well, right? But it do something that kind of surprised you, like, oh, I didn't really expect that from you. Like, that was the feeling like I got there, where it was very natural, and it just kind of gave you more insight to who she actually is, because they don't tell you a whole lot about her, right? I think she was phenomenal, just an amazing actress.
Yeah. So homework for next week on that movie, absolutely. And I'm usually the one that's watched about 20 movies, but it was a slow week for me. So, what about you, Lena? What did you watch this week?
Well, luckily I was sick.
So you don't hear that a lot. Only a movie fan would say, luckily I was sick this week.
But and the people on the server heard that a lot from me, like almost every third week. I'm like, I'm sick again. Great. So, like Jasper already mentioned, I watched Lowlifes, and I just don't have anything to add there without going too much into detail. I'm just gonna say one thing. The ending frustrated the fuck out of me.
Oh, you're telling me.
But it's like not because it's a bad ending per se. It's just a very frustrating one. Like, if you watched it, you know why it's frustrating.
You guys need to watch this.
This is the 2B one, right?
Yeah, please watch it. Honestly.
And because of the acting part, I think the brother was also not really good. He just had one expression and it annoyed the fuck out of me.
What, the doe-eyed, dumb expression?
Yeah. I just wanted to punch him. You know, these people that just have this punchable face. That's what the boy had, like, almost through the whole movie. And no shame to the actor. Like, he still did great. He just has like one of these annoying faces. I don't know. But the Jasper knows what I mean, surely.
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, I do.
Okay, now I'm gonna talk about Tarot because I have a lot of thoughts about it. I hated that movie. And yeah, you can watch it for the monsters, but I don't think it's worth for that, because the monsters like only appear for 30-second max. Like you barely get a good glimpse of them because they're just there for the shock factor.
Right.
And my problem was, oh god, there's a very annoying character in that movie. And I actually like the actor that plays him, because he's been like the sidekick of Spider-Man in the Tom Holland movies. He's been Ned, like the actor of Ned. I don't know what his name is right off the bat, but
can we bring it up for you?
Jacob something, I think.
Jacob Batalon.
Yeah, exactly, Jacob Batalon. And he just plays this annoying as fuck character. I just wished he would have stopped talking. And then he gets one of the, I think, scariest tarot monsters.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that might just be because of my fear of clowns. but it was a very scary one. And then there's just these scenes that don't make any sense. You have that character that was like, oh, I survived it all, only for her to not survive like 2 minutes into the spectacle. Because suddenly there's new rules to the thing, and that's what I also hate, like with the demon putting up new rules and all that stuff. And then the ending happened. And I was like, oh, are we gonna get like a devastating ending? And it's like, no, the annoying character is back. He didn't die. I was like, no. No.
But did you see, like, it ended and then it played credits for a minute?
Yeah,
and then
I saw that.
Yeah.
They explained why he didn't die. And it didn't make any sense to me. Because in most of the cases, it was like kind of another world they went in once they got haunted, I'm just gonna say. And no one was able to interfere with it most of the time. So I don't understand how in his case it was an exception again. It was
Lena,
just,
I don't understand the movie. It was terrible.
that was the worst thing. You can have like, okay,
They're doing a lot of promo for that movie right now too. It's disappointing that it's so bad.
Like, have annoying characters, okay. Have off-screen deaths, okay. At least stick to your goddamn rules. Like, they just brought that dude back for the joke of, like, Jasper already said, he shouldn't be so bullheaded. Just listen to others. Be open to change. But another thing that was read to him is, you're gonna be there for your friends in their time of need. And that was, like, the joke they played off of. Because he was like, yeah, I should be here for your time of need. I'm here now. He didn't do shit. He just turned up with the car. He didn't do shit. And that's just, I don't know. I just hate stuff like that. Just let the annoying character die. Please.
I know that feeling so well.
I'm just going from one movie I hated to another I hated. It's... I ranted about it like all night yesterday, I think. And I wrote a big ass review in the spoiler channel. It's 247 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
that
yes.
movie.
I hated it. Like, it's based on true events, but the true events are very solely based on it. So I'm not hating on what happened to these people back in Georgia. I'm hating on how this movie turned out. Like, the worst character of them all isn't even involved in it, but he never cares to, like, look out for them. The circumstances they are stuck in there are so unrealistic. Like, you can't tell me that the small step ladder would have prevented them from getting out at all. Like, they just, I don't know. It was so stupid. And then...
This is about people stuck in a sauna, right?
Yeah, it's about 3 young adults being stuck in a sauna. You also get, like, this build-up of a potential romance.
Just stop pouring water on the rocks. Is that in the problem?
They didn't. They had, like, a heater in it that got activated and deactivated. And it was, like, one of the worst dialogues because it didn't make any sense. They were like...
It does sound like a setup for, like, a horror comedy, though, right?
It isn't a horror comedy, sadly. I think one of the characters is like, aren't there the temperature regulations? Like, if you have a heater in here, can't you just regulate the temperature from inside? And then he's like, no. And they're like, why not? That doesn't make any sense if it's from the outside. And he's like, yeah, but we're not a fucking public sauna. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's just normal security precautions. That movie was really frustrating because the guy that got them stuck in there was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the toilet and take a piss. And he's drunk, so he falls asleep, which can happen, of course. But when he wakes up, instead of like checking on the people, searching everywhere for them, he's just like, oh, they might have gone to the party without me. And then he heads to the fucking party. And the uncle that stays around also heads to the party, ignores the dog, obviously distressed about something. And it was like, that's the main problem about survival horror movies for me. It's a lot of crazy coincidences that would never happen in real life. Like a lot of unfortunate coincidences that would never happen. So that was that movie. Then I watched Cheap Thrills, which is a very fun, dark comedy. I wouldn't really count it as 100% horror, but it had shocking movements in it. If you like dogs, please don't watch this movie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm just gonna say this beforehand. You don't see it get killed, but it's a movie. I'm just gonna say the movie, and then you can kind of get what I mean. It's a movie about two best friends that reconnected after 5 years. Both have kind of money problems, and they meet this rich couple in a bar. And this rich couple basically makes them do dares for money. And the dares just get more and more extreme. So kind of by the end they have, let me just say, an eating competition. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh my.
And that was like the worst part of the movie in my opinion, but that's still what makes it for me, like, as a movie not everyone would watch. That's like very dark.
Right.
But it was a fun addition. It's nothing special. It was just fun, and it had the dude from Final Destination 5 in it. The one that played the boss of like this whole company that got killed by a... What was it? I don't know. He just got like a tool swung at him in full speed in Final Destination 5.
Oh.
Then I watched Ball. It's the survival movie about these two girls stuck on this, I don't know what it was, a signal tower, a very big one.
That movie was excellent.
It was great.
And the ending,
Really?
oh my god. Yeah, it's a good movie, honestly.
It is a good movie, but again, and I think Jasper will agree, these unfortunate coincidences, but they are at least believable. Like, at least believable that could happen, but it's very fucking unlikely, especially the first one with the car. I'm not gonna say what happens, but it's... it got Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it, which was a fun surprise.
I mean,
love
when
Jeffrey
my
Dean Morgan.
friend watched it and I told him that I'd watched it, I was like, that ending got me. And he was like, nah, I figured it out. I was like, shut up, man. Just let me have a moment. Okay.
I sadly knew about the plot twist, but it still did make it shocking for me. Like, even if you knew about it.
I think it's one of those ones that, you know, for not so much horror, but like, I guess thriller fans, it's a good one. It's kind of like, what's that one where James Franco is in and he was...
147 hours.
Yeah, that's it.
I think it's called. Yeah.
Oh, 127. Yeah.
127. No, not 47. Damn.
Yeah, kind of like that same theme where they're trapped, they're trying to figure out how to get out, and bad things happen, and yeah, it's good.
I remember reading articles about that guy. before the movie came out, and I was just like astonished with how, I don't know, his will to survive was pretty inspiring.
Oh god, I just got right. We've all watched 127, right?
Yeah.
When he's like,
leg.
no, what was his arm was trapped,
and
he's like gone through or whatever, cutting through it. But the way the musicians timed the cuts through the ligaments, and they had that high-pitched violin every time they cut through. Oh god!
Yeah.
To this day, that still gives me a shiver down my spine. That was so well done. Oh god!
It really was. Well, in this, so in the real life one that article I was reading, it talked a lot about that part, and he had excerpts of the interview with him, and one of the things he said is that he really thought he was going to die, and so he had taken his pocket knife out and carved some stuff into the rock so that like people would know his name and stuff like that, so that when they found his body eventually, that way his parents and people like that would have peace, so it could be identified. So he had carved and dulled that pocket knife.
Oh no, it's even worse.
It's before amputating his arm. And one of the things that was just so excruciating to me when I was reading it is that he couldn't get past his bone, so he had to leverage himself up and then drop his body weight down to break. So that and then out of that,
and then Jasper puked.
So then he frees himself, and he's coming out of that. But there's another like several hundred, or maybe it's not that much. Maybe it's only like 30 or 40. But there's a drop off into the creek below that he has to rappel down. It's not like he can just walk out of there. And it's still very remote. And so he was like bleeding to death, rappelling down in a creek, crawling, trying to find someone to help him. And just like a miracle, people found him. Because it was very remote. And I was just like, every time I think about it, it gives me chills. Like, that is the will to survive. Holy moly.
It is.
I know there was like a message at the end where, he leaves a voice recording on his phone, like for his voicemail, saying, I'm at such and such. I should only be there for 2 days. If I'm not, send help. I just thought that was quite funny. Like, okay, you definitely need to do that if you're going somewhere to places like that. But,
okay. Okay.
That's our deep dive into 127 hours.
I didn't want to remember that movie. I will dream about it for sure.
Yeah.
Great. Let's just change the topic.
Okay.
To The Invitation. Not the 2015 movie, I think. I'm talking about the 2022 movie. Which has a pretty good cast of like Thomas Doherty, who I only knew from The Descendants, but I bet he did more. Natalie Emanuel, who was in Game of Thrones. Hugh Skinner, Sean Pertwee, like I know all of them. So I was like, yeah, that movie might be good. It wasn't. It tried so hard to be Crimson Peak. It tried to be Crimson Peak, but with vampires.
I remember that movie. Okay, it was unfortunate.
It's about a girl wanting to that just lost her mom to cancer, and that basically through coincidence used a site that with which you were able to find distant relatives with like a DNA and all that stuff. And so a distant cousin of her reaches out, and he's like, yeah, you're part of a very big British clan. Let's come to this wedding. I invite you to it. And then they're like stuck on this big-ass mansion. And the host and the owner of this mansion is like this beautiful young man that instantly starts to flirt with her. And I think as soon as that happened, you just know what's going on.
Right.
And like you have these two very jealous girls of her, and like she keeps asking for the groom and bride, like where are they? And they're like, yeah, you're gonna see them soon. You're gonna see them soon. And at that point, you already know where it's going, and that's so sad. And you already know how it's kind of ending.
And it wasn't good, though, right?
It wasn't really good, because it just reminded me so much of Crimson Peak, but in bad. Because if you look at the parallels, girl that doesn't have family relatives goes out of the country to a big ass mansion. Like the only parallel that's not there yet is that the main girl in the invitation isn't married yet. But she also gets charmed by this unique man, and
who she's related to. Like, does no one else?
No, she's not related to him.
Oh, I thought. Okay, sorry.
No. The distant cousin invites her to this wedding, and they're like, yeah, but this guy has just offered us the mansion because our families are, like these three families are part of a big company and like part of big dynasties, and they basically help each other, and. Yeah, and they have like this speech. I fucking hate these speeches about, well, you can't call this Nosferatu or Dracula. I'm like, oh god, don't give me this. I'm not like any other vampire speech.
Please.
Just say you're a fucking vampire. It's okay. We know. And the ending is like very anticlimactic, sadly. Like, you kind of knew where it was going from the very beginning. But if you need something to just watch on the side, it's fine. It's fine.
I'd rather watch Tarot again by the sounds of it. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, if you want to scroll TikTok and have a horror movie on in the background.
Yeah, watch The Invitation, because it doesn't even have good kills. Like, a lot of maids get killed, but it's all off screen. It's just this, oh, they see the monster and then they scream and I'm black. Like, okay, you know what happened, but you don't see what happened. And you only have like this one cliche scene of like the moment it all goes down, the moment the main character realizes what she's into, and it's like this big ass dinner party, and then they just slit the throat of one of the maids. But that's kind of all the brutality you will get in that movie.
Oh dear.
The others, it was a waste, sadly. So I'm glad I watched a better vampire movie afterwards. Which was one you talked about like weeks ago. I finally watched Abigail.
Yay!
What a movie.
Oh, good.
What a relief of a movie. What a fun movie. I loved the cast.
There you go, Gigi.
Yes. Woo!
Welcome
to the club, Lena.
You didn't enjoy it?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
I love the humor.
Me and Jasper had some problems with it.
I just had a problem with the character.
Let's hear your thoughts. Give us your rundown.
I had a problem with one character, and it feels bad to have a problem with him because it's like the actor that died. But he was very annoying.
He was terrible.
Yeah.
Which I don't know him, but I've heard
Angus
Clown
Clown.
things about him.
He was great in Euphoria.
This was his last movie, yeah. No, he wasn't good in this, so don't feel bad.
The only thing that I would say was bad is like the twist, because people knew I knew the twist coming from miles away. I bet a lot of people knew the twist was coming, not exactly like the way they thought.
It was the premise of the movie, right?
Yeah, it's like the whole premise, so like hiding it as a twist is weird.
Yeah.
but I liked the kind of way they played with Abigail, like the kind of way they were playing, like they were talking to her as if she was a little child still. They were underestimating her like every step of the way. I was just sad that some characters have gone to waste. I really liked the character that like had a connection to the main, like the one that was in the army. He was gone way too fast. Like it was, yeah, I'm gonna help you, and then dead. I was so sad, but otherwise, I liked the movie. I already talked with Gigi about it a bit. I just wish we could have seen more of the dad, because the dad gets pushed up to the limit, only to have him like there and not be dangerous at all. At least not seeable dangerous. You know he is, but he doesn't have anything to back it up. But I liked.
He's like 5 minutes of fame at the end, and that was about it, wasn't it?
But I liked Dan Stevens' character. I liked how ruthless he was. He just wanted to be powerful, and I loved that. Just to have this, I don't care about you kind of attitude, and like how powerful he is, but still overestimating him.
It was nice to see him a little deranged, because I love that guy. Like, he does.
Dan Stevens.
Mm-hmm. I loved him in Legion. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
He was so good.
And plus, the one scene where she dances with the corpse is actually improvised. Like, it was improvised by the little girl.
Okay, nice.
Which is pretty nice. Mm-hmm. Just had to drop that in here for, like, this little... It was a very shocking scene. I think it's one of the most memorable scenes for me. Like, her just dancing there with that little headless corpse.
That was pretty good.
But yeah, I liked it. I would recommend it for people that want an easy watch that you can just have on when you feel like you've watched way too many
like hard
horror movies. Mm-hmm. Because like after I watch stuff like Halloween or Talk to Me, I'm like, I need something tame now.
Yeah, like a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly, yes. And that's something you can watch. I'd say. Okay, and the last one I have watched is... Oh God, you guys know the phase when everyone tried to be like Scream. So there were a lot of Scream copycats. This one was a German copycat. Okay, it's a German movie with international actors played in... like, that is played in Prague. And it's this group of graduates, like fresh graduates from high school, that decide to celebrate in a swimming pool. And so one by one gets killed, and it's a whodunit, obviously. First of all the actors don't look the age they're supposed to be. You got a young James McAvoy in it. I liked some of the death scenes, because they did what Aqua/Slash failed to do. We had like a little scene where he stuck like his machete up the slide and someone went down and you finally saw more than just parts falling down.
Ooh, nasty.
That's a very great scene. I was like, ew, no, oh God. I have some problems with it though. The acting falls flat. The motive is stupid. The motive is so stupid. I hate when storylines are not fully fleshed out. Like, you have this one love interest guy and he just dies before anything else can happen. Like, you have this one small scene and then dies. Plus, there were characters. A swimming pool.
It's called Swimming Pool?
It's called Swimming Pool.
Okay.
But the two women trapped in the pool and they have to, like, try and make their way out. Is it that one?
No. It's a group of young teens.
Okay. I'm going to get the wrong pool movie.
No. And the worst part I think about the movie is you have a handful of characters in that group. And they all go to that pool together. And then like 2 or 3 just disappear. They never get killed off. I watched a lot of kill counts on it to make sure that I'm not the only one.
You did miss it? They just disappeared?
Yeah, that I was just distracted or something. But they legit never appeared in that movie anymore.
That's so weird.
And that's really weird, but meh. It was still a decent watch. Not better than Scream, not better than I Know What You Did Last Summer. Just another Scream ripoff, so.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay. It wasn't frustrating to watch, but it's not something I would be like, you watch it. Nah.
Rushed the movies this week. Holy moly.
Oh. But when I looked it up and I was like, it's German. Whoa. I have been busy, yeah. But I'm done now, so. What have you guys watched? What have you watched again?
So there was a part 2 to the Danish movie Night Watch that came out on Shudder, and they released the original at the same time. It had been years. Me and Gigi were talking about it a couple of weeks ago. It had been years since I've seen it, but I remember really, really liking it. So I wanted to do like a dual watch, rewatch the original and then watch the new one right back to back. And holy hell, both of these movies are freaking fantastic. And I hope and 100% recommend watching them back to back, because there are so, like, the new one, the part 2 is fantastic. It's called Demons Are Forever. It's really good on its own, but like, let me just tell you, the nods and throwbacks to the original, you are gonna sell yourself short if you don't watch the original before the new. So just a really, really quick rundown. The original is a law student who gets a job as a night watchman at like a medical forensic type facility, and he's kind of there by himself. At the same time, there's a serial killer that is targeting women. I think specifically prostitutes, but murdering them and then raping them and scalping them. And this is, I don't want to ruin it because it's really good and it plays right into the next one. But this night watchman, this young student, unwillingly becomes like targeted as almost like a scapegoat, and it's really clever how they do it, and the acting is so good, and the story is really, really interesting, and the end is like crazy climactic. And then the part 2 is almost like there was just like so much love for this like Danish horror movie in it. Like they recaptured almost every moment that was like iconic about the first one, but and it's all intentional. It's not like they just mimic the first one. I don't want it to come off that way, but like, you'll understand if you watch it. It's just, it was so smooth and so well done, and really, like, if you love the first one or you watch it right before, you can see all the love, and it is almost in a way like a duplicate of the original, but done in so smart and tied in. Like, they almost breathe like one movie, but 30 years difference, right? Very, very cool. I can't say enough about the second one. I thought the acting in it, everything was just spot on, fantastic. Gee, I know we were talking about this. Did you get a chance to watch?
I have not. I shamefully hiding my face. I know.
You were the one that got me excited to join in.
I know. Oh, I feel terrible.
But it's good. But like, definitely block the time to watch them back to back. That's 100% what I would say. And what else? else? Oh, I watched. I'm not going to talk about a lot yet because I want to give you guys a chance to watch it. But when we were doing the Dead Meat Horror Awards, one of the movies that kept popping up was Persa the Bone Woman, and almost like every category came up, and I had never heard of it. I had seen a couple of the movies that were nominated going in, and subsequently tried to watch any of the big winners since. And I just watched The Bone Woman the other night, and honestly, like, I didn't love it. Now, the acting in it was fantastic. The cinematography was fantastic. There's some very cool ritualistic stuff that happens in it, and it all feels very real. It's a well done movie. I would not say it like it's a really well done movie that I don't recommend, if that makes any sense. All that being said, I do want you guys to watch it because I feel like maybe I'm missing something. There was a lot of hype around this one, and visually, it's like done really well, and the acting's fantastic. And just like by the end of it, like, when I'm watching a really, really good movie, the time flies by, right? And I'm always kind of like bummed when it's over. I must have checked the time, I don't know, 5 times throughout this thing. And when it was done, I was like, meh,
Yeah.
Like, and I say that saying that the acting was good, the direction was good. I just didn't really care about the story. Maybe, I don't know. You guys need to watch this one, and then maybe if you think it's worthy, we'll deep dive it or just do a quick conversation. I want to know if I'm missing something. Like the main character, by the end of it, I just didn't really like. I didn't care about her. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting movie. I would it's not something that I would finish and then start messaging people. Oh, you got to watch this. Like the First Omen, 100%. Evil when evil lurks. Yes, I watched that movie. I want to tell everyone you need to watch this movie, right? Yeah. This one here, no, it's just I don't know. I can't recommend it, but and it's not bad. And that's the crazy thing. It's really well done. It's just I don't know. I just didn't care about it at all. And it's not overly interesting, I don't think. But anyways, I want you guys to watch it. Let me know what you think. Maybe I missed something. I'm sure some nuance in there that I didn't pick up on. But yeah,
what is it again? The Bone Woman.
I don't want to say a letdown.
Yeah.
What's that?
The Bone
Woman. Right.
The Bone Woman, yeah.
Okay. Putting on my list.
Check it out because it got really, really good reviews and scored a few awards. It just I don't know. It didn't do it.
It definitely is on my watch list.
I do. Okay, so I always mention this friend, right? And he listens to the podcast every week. Hello, Danny. I'm sure he is.
Danny
honestly. Oh, Danny boy. You and Danny would get on really well, King, because he's writing these classic horror, Hammer horror and whatnot. And whenever he recommends a movie, I jump on it because his opinion for horror is really excellent. He's actually spoken to the server a few times. I'm sure he mentioned Bone Woman and said it was really good, but I'm going to ask him to see if the opinion's still the same.
And it is, right? It's really well done. The acting's fantastic. The cinematography and the style of it is really, really good. When it was over, I was like, I don't know. When I like a movie, a really good movie, and don't get me wrong, because I like a lot of trash, and I'm not going to run out and recommend trash just because I enjoy it. I can tell the difference between quality and just fun, right? Or just something that's in my specific wheelhouse I know most people won't care about. This was really well done. I just don't know that it's a movie anyone needed to see, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's a hard conversation to have because I don't want to ruin anything. I don't want to talk too much about it. But I want you guys to watch it. And anyone who's listening to this, if you've seen it, let me know your thoughts too in the comments, right? Because maybe I missed something. I know people love it. People think it's a fantastic movie, and I think it was done really well. Acting, everything was done really, really well. I just didn't give a shit about it.
So it just didn't like resonate.
It didn't resonate. I wasn't crazy about any of the characters. I wasn't like fully invested in anything going on. You know what I mean? At times I was. There was a few times where I was kind of hooked and on the edge of my seat, and then it was just like I didn't care. And yeah, and again, I think the biggest tell for me is I could say it was really well done, but also unrecommendable. If that makes any sense. Like,
does make sense,
I would be embarrassed to tell someone, like, you got to go watch this movie, right? The three of you to go watch this movie because I want to talk about it. But I only want to talk about it to know if I missed something here. So
okay. Next
week
I know people like it.
Next week we're gonna rip him a new one. We're gonna be like, how dare you? That was a masterpiece.
Revenge, Ken, watch this worst movie. I want you to watch Sharknado for recommending this.
Watch Tyrone now.
Alright. We might have to trade on. But again, even if you don't like it, I would say it's super quality. Right? I would fault anyone who tarnished the quality of this film. It's top notch. Again, I just didn't give a shit about it by the end.
Okay, a quick question.
I'll be really curious to know your guys' thoughts. Like,
I have a quick
When
question,
Evil Lurks
Ken.
is a good example. What's that?
So I have a quick question. Okay, so for some horrors, I'm not too fond on, say, supernatural. So I kind of go into it with that mindset, knowing that it's not my favourite genre. Did this fall into a genre that's particularly not your favourite, and maybe that's why?
No, I like everything. Right?
Okay.
Like, dude, I like everything. As long as it's dark and, you know what I mean? Like, I like everything. There's no genre that I don't care for. I'm not picky. Right? Like, I definitely have my favorites, but, you know, like, give me anything spooky, dark, creepy, ghosts, aliens, monsters, demons. I'm down for it all, right? I love it all. So no, horror movies to me are like pizza. Anything you could put on a pizza, I'm gonna enjoy. You know.
Okay, so one last thing, Ken. Danny just got back to me and said it was good, so I'm a bit hesitant about your review now.
But here's the thing: I'm saying very openly. It is good. I just didn't care for it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why I'm saying I want you guys to watch it, because I want you to tell me if maybe I missed something. If there's something here I'm not seeing. Because it's not a trash movie. It's beautiful. It's done really well. I just didn't wait, is my life better for seeing it? No. You know? Jeez. My brain. The devil. Help me out, guys.
The devil.
The Shudder movie. No. Damn it, Gigi. The big one that we were just like deep diving for.
I saw the devil. No. Late Night with the Devil. Jesus.
Oh,
Late Night with the Devil. Thank you. Holy hell. Jeez.
That movie is amazing.
Oh god.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so all right, so Late Night with the Devil, When Evil Lurks, these are movies that I want to talk about, I want to recommend, I want everyone to watch. You know, it's like when a movie like even Vermin Infested, you know, after that, I was like, wow, my life is definitely better for seeing it, right? This one here, I didn't get that. I'm like, there was no end enjoyment. But again, I'm going to leave that alone, and you guys watch it, and then tell me that I'm an idiot next week, or or come back and agree with me, because I just don't get it. I don't get it. Other than just being like well acted and beautifully shot, I don't see what the appeal is. But that was it for movies for me. Definitely go see Night Watch too, because those were fantastic. Oh, on the game front, I am right at the end of the first Hellblade game, which is fantastic. I don't know how no one's turned this thing into a movie, because it is so cinematically gorgeous. I love it. You guys don't know Hellblade. Gigi's going to talk about it next, so I'll just throw over to you, Gigi.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so for my recap, I have been swamped and I've not gotten to watch anything. But I did get to play and beat Senua Saga Hellblade 2. And I have to say, it was a masterpiece. From start to finish, I was captivated, blown away by just how beautiful it was and how terrible the gore was really well done. But yeah, compelling story. I love how they incorporate, mental illness aspects, and I can't recommend the game enough.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm just wrapping up the first one, and it was a little tough to get into, I think. And not story-wise. Story-wise, it was phenomenal. And it got the frustrating part was there was some repetitive puzzles that didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And honestly, if it wasn't for how compelling the story was, I would have put it down. I was like, there's no value in this, trying to solve these dumb puzzles. But I wanted to know, what happens to this person so much that I, forced myself to go back and figure out the puzzles just to continue the story, right? It's like someone pausing a movie, at a really cool part and, saying, okay, now do this math problem before I press play again. But yeah, I can't speak to the second one, but I could assume if it's the first one just kind of ramped up or whatever, it's definitely going to be worth it. I'm excited for it.
I mean, so it still follows Senua. It's a continuation of her story. And it definitely keeps true to the first one. I just don't want to give away too much.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I don't know. I think they did a phenomenal job for sure.
Yeah, there's been a lot of hype on the server about that game. It's I look at the list, everybody's online, and you're all are playing it.
Yeah, I know.
I had heard Gigi mention the second one, so I looked at it, and it looked bonkers cool. And then I checked on the Xbox store, and they had the first one for $5. So it's I like Viking dark lore, right? It's this whole thing screams this crazy take on dark Viking mythology. I'm all over that stuff, right? And it was for $5, I'll check this out, and I've been addicted to it.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm excited to jump into the second one.
Yeah.
I just got to finish off the first one. I think I'm on the last board.
And Jasper, you have somewhat creator content to mention?
Yeah, so every week we pick a content creator from the Cold Dead Heart server and we talk about the projects we're doing. This week we have a comic book artist. So imagine this. You're a little boy who wakes up from a cryogenic sleep inside some cold and lonely environment that's kind of reminiscent to an old hospital. And his only goal is to find quote-unquote father, with his help of a mysterious being called Red at his side. So they go by the Shiro 123, has been part of the CDH server for quite a while now. They are a digital artist, art student, and cat lover who produced a comic called Project E-113. And Shiro said, it was a very particular idea that they had for a while when coming up for the concept of this comic. And what they produced today was originally actually meant to be a horror RPG maker type game. And their main characters are inspired by the trilogy called Hello Charlotte. I haven't personally played them. I don't know if any of you have. The comic itself's like really beautifully drawn. Each character has their own like unique concepts, and the story is like really well written. I read it myself, and although it like looks aesthetically beautiful, when you piece that together with the story, you're kind of left with quite an eerie feeling after reading it.
Yeah.
And I know you've read some of it as well, Ken.
Yeah. No, and it's like fantastic for like a free webcomic. I would recommend it to anyone interested in the plotline or genre for sure.
Oh, absolutely. So I asked Shiro a bit about the process and what they loved about the comic, and they said, their favorite character is the protagonist. Like Ender is basically one of their comfort characters that they designed as a child. And, Ender is nothing more than like a sweet but very confused little boy who's trying to understand like all the awful things he's witnessing and experiencing. However, as an adult, they said he's a kind gentleman with a confident and calm demeanour. It's like almost like a mask to hide his insecurities and fears.
Right.
Shiro also stated like the characters used for the inspiration of the Ender's creations. They took a lot of elements from I don't know if you know any of these people, Howl, Pendragon, Vash, Stampede, and Sakura, Kinomoto, and many more. I asked them where they are in the comic, and they said they're about 60% done with the story. But in between chapter intermissions, they're going to be dropping like lots of pieces that have extra lore and perhaps more revelation. So they have plenty of content for you. They said once Project E113 is done, they're actually going to be working on a reboot of one of their earlier comics. But they're currently like restructuring the story and character designs. The synopsis for the story is: following a mysterious shooting star and hearing a prayer, a witch named Lemmy decides to start her own witch path in a town where she might find friendship, love, and maybe a place to belong alongside dark mysteries. So I think that kind of sounds a bit more sweeter than the Project comic, which is quite grim and dark, and the story is very chilling. So if you love their horror comics and you want something new and more specifically free to read, then Project E13 is the way to go. Their links will be posted down below. We'll have their link tree, which will give you the link to the comic and all their socials if you want to follow them for future project releases.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, and then for our final thing, we've got an announcement, and we will go into that now. Thank you.
Also got to do the plugs for
God.
well.